Do you usually believe that supplements are always safe just because they're available in any pharmacy or even supermarkets? Have you ever thought that what seems harmless could actually overload one of the most important organs in your body, your liver? Are green tea capsules, turmeric, or high-dose vitamins really beneficial without any risk? And more, does natural really mean no side effects? These are doubts many people have, and almost no one talks about them clearly. The promise is more energy, better health, weight loss, and even slower aging. But before the end of this video, I'll reveal which supplements can be especially dangerous for your liver, even though they're sold freely. This is essential information for anyone who has bought or is thinking about buying a bottle of capsules. My name is Kenji Oshiro, and you're watching Global Health Guide. Subscribe now to the channel to not miss serious and straightforward health content explained in a simple way. Now let's get straight to the point. Dietary supplements can indeed be useful in some situations, but what few people realize is that they can also bring risks. In the United States, the supplement industry generates billions of dollars a year. There are thousands of options on the shelves: vitamins, minerals, plant extracts, weight loss powders, immunity capsules, protein shakes, all with attractive packaging, catchy phrases, and often promoted by influencers with discount codes. The problem is that side effects are rarely discussed, and here's the big issue: your liver pays the price. This organ is responsible for metabolizing almost everything you ingest, not just food, but also medications, alcohol, pollutants, and of course, supplements. It works like a filtering plant, processing substances so they can be eliminated or used by the body, but it has its limits. What happens when you combine supplements without guidance? Imagine someone taking green tea capsules to burn fat, along with turmeric pills because they heard it's anti-inflammatory, and adding a daily multivitamin. Individually, each product might seem harmless, but together they add up to concentrated compounds that the liver needs to process, and often the sum exceeds what the body can handle healthily, and then symptoms appear, but they don't show up obviously, like pain or fever. Often they manifest as constant tiredness, a heavy stomach feeling, skin issues, or frequent infections. These are subtle signs that most people never associate with liver overload. Another important point: the risk isn't always in the substance itself, but in the dosage. There's a basic principle in toxicology that says the dose makes the poison. This means even an essential nutrient can become harmful if taken in excess. For example, fat-soluble vitamins like A and D can accumulate in the body. The same goes for iron and niacin, also known to affect the liver at high doses. And did you know that many supplements contain the same ingredients repeated in different bottles? An energy capsule might have vitamin B3, while your multivitamin already contains the same substance. By combining the two, you might be taking much more than you realize. This brings us to one of the 5 biggest mistakes made by those who take supplements. The first mistake is trusting concentrated plant combinations without supervision. Products that mix green tea, turmeric, artichoke, or other extracts may seem natural and healthy, but when concentrated in capsules, they lose the same safety as a regular food. What's a spice or tea in the kitchen becomes high doses of active compounds in a bottle, demanding extra work from the liver. The second mistake is exceeding the recommended daily dose, even if just once in a while. This habit is more common than you might think. Many people think, say, if 1 capsule is good, 2 will be even better. But the body doesn't work that way. The excess doesn't bring extra benefits. On the contrary, it can cause silent damage that only shows up years later. You've probably already realized that the real danger isn't just in the isolated supplement, but in the combination of everything you consume. And we're not just talking about capsules, but also additional factors like medications and even alcohol consumption. Each of these substances competes to be metabolized by the liver, and the problem is that the liver doesn't give clear signs of overload at first. It doesn't hurt, it doesn't throb, it doesn't inflame in a way you notice immediately. That's why many people only find out too late that they were putting their health at risk. Think about it. When you feel exhausted, when your skin has issues, or when your immune system seems weaker, do you think about your liver? Most people don't, but it's exactly this organ that, day after day, is trying to handle all these substances. And before you get too worried, I'm not saying supplements are always bad. They can be useful in specific situations, like a proven deficiency of vitamin D or iron, for example. But caution is needed. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever taken a supplement on your own without a doctor's recommendation? Share in the comments. You've probably heard the phrase, if it's good, a bit more can only be better. That's exactly the mindset that leads many people to overdo it with supplements. But when it comes to health, that logic doesn't work. This is exactly where the third mistake comes in, believing that supplements, because they're sold without a prescription, are always harmless. The truth is that even vitamins and minerals, when taken in excess, can become toxic. Take vitamin A, for example. This nutrient is essential for vision, immunity, and skin health, but in excess, it accumulates in the body because it's fat-soluble, meaning it's not easily eliminated through urine. The result? Liver damage, intense fatigue, headaches, nausea, and even bone issues. And the worst part? The person taking these capsules believes they're strengthening their health when they're actually doing the opposite. Something similar happens with vitamin D. It's true that many people have a deficiency and supplementation may be necessary, but taking very high doses without medical supervision can cause calcium buildup in the body, overloading the kidneys and liver. Once again, the difference between medicine and poison lies in the dose. Another critical point involves niacin, also called vitamin B3. In small amounts, it helps with metabolism and nervous system health. But in high doses, like those used in some supplements to lower cholesterol, it can cause inflammation and liver damage. This shows why any supplement should be used under medical guidance, especially if you're already taking medications. And speaking of medications, this is the fourth mistake, hiding from your doctor that you use supplements. This happens a lot. Many patients think they don't need to mention it because it's just vitamins or it's just a tea in capsule form. But the interaction between supplements and medications is real and can be dangerous. A classic example is St. John's wort, often used for anxiety and mild depression symptoms. It can reduce the effectiveness of contraceptives, anticoagulants, and even antidepressants. Now imagine someone taking anticoagulants as prescribed by a doctor and, without mentioning, starts using St. John's wort because they saw an ad saying it improves mood. The result could be a drastic reduction in the medication's effectiveness, increasing the risk of a serious issue like thrombosis. This isn't an exaggeration, it's documented in several clinical studies. Another concerning example is weight loss supplements. Many contain blends of plant extracts sold as natural and safe. A well-known case is Garcinia cambogia, popular as an appetite suppressant. What's rarely mentioned is that there have been reports of hepatitis and even liver failure linked to its use in capsules. Again, it's not the fruit itself that's the issue, but the concentrated, industrialized form, often with inadequate quality control. And this is the fifth mistake, trusting any supplement source, especially those bought online from unknown websites. The market is huge, but it's not always properly regulated. Contaminated supplements have been found with heavy metals, pesticides, and even undeclared substances like anabolic steroids. This happens especially with products from dubious origins, sold as miraculous and without certifications. What can you do to protect yourself? Always look for products from reliable manufacturers, preferably purchased at pharmacies or reputable stores, and seek quality seals, like certifications from independent labs. It may seem more expensive at first, but remember, health isn't an expense, it's an investment. Another essential precaution is monitoring your blood tests, especially liver function tests. The liver is a silent organ. It doesn't hurt, it doesn't inflame obviously, it doesn't send clear warning signs. When symptoms appear, the situation is often already advanced, so a simple blood test can reveal early signs of overload. Tests like ALT and AST, for example, help identify inflammation or liver damage in its early stages. But what are the signs that might indicate your liver isn't doing well? Persistent fatigue, loss of appetite, a heavy feeling in the abdominal area, yellowish skin, or unexplained itching. These symptoms don't necessarily mean a serious illness, but they're a warning that something might be wrong. And maybe you're thinking, but I don't feel anything, so everything must be fine. That's the big mistake. The liver has a huge regeneration capacity, which is positive, but also dangerous. It can handle years of overload before starting to fail. When problems become evident, it might already be too late to fully reverse the situation. Now that we've understood the main mistakes with supplements, it's time to talk about those products that, despite being popular, can pose serious risks to your liver. It's important to emphasize, this doesn't mean they're all forbidden or should be seen as poison. What I want to show is that some need to be used with caution and medical supervision, because in excess or in combination with other factors, they can become real health enemies. One of the most well-known examples is green tea extract in capsules. Unlike the regular drink, which is safe and even beneficial in moderate amounts, the capsule extract concentrates a substance called EGCG in very high doses. This compound, when taken in concentrated form, can be toxic to the liver, especially on an empty stomach. There are already documented reports of people who developed liver inflammation due to prolonged use of these capsules. If you like green tea, the best option is to prepare it traditionally. That way, you enjoy the antioxidants without exposing your body to an exaggerated dose. Another supplement that deserves attention is vitamin A. It appears in both multivitamins and products aimed at skin, vision, and immunity. The problem is that being fat-soluble, the body can't easily eliminate the excess. Over time, intake above the recommended amount can lead to a condition called hypervitaminosis A, which directly affects the liver and can cause symptoms like chronic headaches, fatigue, nausea, and even bone changes. That's why it should only be used with a prescription and, preferably, when tests confirm a deficiency. Niacin, or vitamin B3, is often promoted as a substance that improves metabolism, lowers cholesterol, and even aids in weight loss. But in high doses, it can cause liver damage. In fact, in medical treatments to lower cholesterol, when niacin is used in high doses, liver function tests are always monitored. Imagine then someone deciding to use it on their own, without guidance, thinking it's just a harmless vitamin. And we can't forget about natural herbs and extracts. The term natural misleads many people. Among them, a controversial example is kava kava, also known as intoxicating pepper. It gained fame as a calming agent, but has been linked to severe cases of liver failure, to the point of being banned in several countries. Another is St. John's wort, which we've already mentioned, as besides interacting with medications, it can also overload the liver with prolonged use. Even valerian, used for insomnia and anxiety, when taken in very high doses and for a long time, can pose liver risks. Another group that stands out is weight loss and fat-burning supplements. Many promise quick results but use poorly studied extract blends. A well-known case is Garcinia cambogia, sold as an appetite suppressant. Studies have shown an association with cases of drug-induced hepatitis and even acute liver failure. The problem worsens when these capsules are bought online from suppliers with no quality control. And when we enter the world of bodybuilding and fitness, the risks multiply. Many imported supplements, especially those sold on unreliable websites, have been found to contain hidden anabolic steroids in their formulas. In other words, the consumer thinks they're taking just a protein supplement and is actually ingesting substances that can cause serious damage to the liver, kidneys, and hormonal system. Even seemingly simple supplements, like whey protein or creatine, need to be bought from reputable, certified brands. These, when used correctly, are relatively safe. But the risk appears when the source is questionable or when recommended limits are exceeded. And why is the liver so vulnerable to all these products? Because it's the body's great laboratory. Everything we ingest passes through it to be transformed, neutralized, or eliminated. But during this process, toxic byproducts can be generated. If they're few, the liver can handle it. But if they're many, day after day, year after year, the overload leads to chronic inflammation, tissue scarring, fibrosis, and, in extreme cases, cirrhosis. The most concerning part is that this process happens silently. Unlike other organs, the liver doesn't have nerve endings that cause direct pain. That's why you don't feel it when it starts to suffer. Many people only discover they have liver problems during routine tests or when symptoms are already advanced, like jaundice, yellowish skin and eyes, intense itching, or abdominal swelling. The good news is that the liver also has an enormous regeneration capacity. If the aggression is stopped in time, it can recover. This means that stopping or adjusting the use of problematic supplements can restore the organ's health. But this requires attention and, above all, medical supervision. So what's the safest path? First, don't use supplements without a real need. Whenever possible, try to get vitamins and minerals through food. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, and lean proteins provide nutrients in a balanced and safe way, plus fiber and antioxidants that no capsule can replicate. Second, talk to your doctor before starting any supplement. Inform them of all the products you already use, even if they're sold without a prescription. This helps avoid dangerous interactions with medications. Third, do routine tests, including liver function tests, at least once a year. This way, it's possible to identify early changes and act before they become serious. And finally, be wary of miraculous promises. No supplement alone will make you lose weight, build muscle, or extend your life magically. The foundation of health remains the same: balanced diet, regular exercise, adequate sleep, and stress management. And now I want to hear from you. Which of these supplements have you used or thought about using? Share in the comments, because your experience can help others reflect too. If this content made sense to you, share with someone who needs to hear this warning, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to follow our upcoming videos on Global Health Guide.